Hello, my loves. How are you? Welcome to Elina's Alchemy, where I started using this little microphone, and even though it's not perfect, because it tends to record in mono, I realize, so it sounds a little bit weird if you're listening with your headphones, I am enjoying very much the ability to be out and be able to make a video spontaneously. We are in this beautiful forest, as you can see. This is one of the places that held me all through last summer when I was making my exit from the narcissistic, abusive, cultish system of my biological family. And I wanted to talk a little bit today about narcissistic systems like these, because they do tend to be a very confusing maze to navigate. And when you finally escape, it does tend to feel like a very confusing time, because narcissism is not just, that someone loves themselves so much that they're looking at their image on the surface of the water, like the myth about Narcissus, the ancient Greek legend, myth, not legend. It is about systems and people who create those systems, who love themselves so much that they will not move an inch, even if that means that it's torturing and abusing some other individuals, to the point that these individuals might have thought to take their lives, to the point that these individuals might have reached breaking point, lost their health. Narcissism can kill you, and I've survived it many, many times in my life, and I can attest to that. And I know that those who are here, you can understand what I'm talking about, and you can relate as well. So the thing with narcissism is that it is so confusing because it's so elaborate and sophisticated. It can feel very confusing, and we don't understand. Highly empathic people, we don't understand that there is a strategy behind it all. We might see people that are touting about their trauma and how much they have suffered, and that's why they are so broken right now and traumatized, and that's why they're abusing you. And that triggers a few programmings inside of us that, by the way, in my work as an energy healer, I have found that these are not organic, natural programs. These are implants, etheric light body implants that are acting as mind control. Programs such as, oh my gosh, I can love them back to life. Oh my gosh, I can save them. Oh my gosh, all they need is someone to understand them. Oh my gosh, yes, I understand, because I have also been traumatized. It's an awful thing they've been through, and so I'm going to be a container, I'm going to be a safe place for them, to allow them to heal if I love them hard enough. This is idiot compassion, and it's an implant. Multiple kinds of implantations, but for example, they are all about accepting psychopathy and abuse or terrible conditions. It's a slavery implantation. It's not one simple, implant or one simple event or one simple programming. It's a narcissistic world we live in. And so everything about this system, all the experiences you're going to have in your formative years and until your egoic personality matrix has been crystallized, it all aims to confuse you, to break down whatever light spark there was there, to implant these kinds of programmings that will allow you to be like a lamb headed for slaughter. That's a good implant. That's an implant, by the way, did you know? I was reading the other day about a saint, a woman saint from Greece. And the church, they're so disgusting how they are taking these stories of torture and are presenting them as this is what you must be. You must be a martyr, you must be a victim if you want to be good. They were writing, oh, there was this woman who wanted to be a monk, wanted to be a nun, but there was no monastery close by, so she went to a monastery for men and she dressed herself up as a monk, as a man. And she became an example, And one day she was going to the village to help a family. And one woman said, the monk assaulted me, like inappropriately. So the village came for justice and they dragged the monk, the woman disguised as a man, monk, and I think they beheaded her or something like that. And the way the church describes this was like, and the woman, the saint, she was walking like a lamb to slaughter. She never once defended herself. She never once raised her voice to defend herself from all of these egregious lies. She never once revealed who she was. And I'm like, what the hell? These are implants. Reversals of stories. I wrote about the reversal of the myth of Atalandi in ancient Greece. I come from Greece, and most of these myths are nothing but a satanic reversal of the truth. And these reversals, they act the more you disseminate them onto the populace, and the more the people are hearing these stories, growing up with these stories. That's a falcon. I don't know if my microphone can catch it. So the falcon is a symbol of organic God source light, Christ light, by the way, just saying. Interesting. Deciding to make a cameo now as we're talking about the satanic reversals of stories, histories, usually taking something that was bad and unfair and presenting it in a heroic way. The bad things that happened to people, presenting it as this is what you should aspire to happen to you if you want to be considered a good person. When you speak up to defend yourself, no. It's a no. If you go like a lamb to slaughter, even though you are innocent, not even defending yourself, so being shut up, right? That's when we make you a saint. And we praise you for that. We praise you for allowing yourself not only to be abused, but to be murdered. This is an implant. Many of us, we've come with all sorts of implants like that into adulthood. Let's say, like in my case, and case of many people, you grow up with parents who are beating you. You grow up with people who are abusing you every single day. Of course they will not teach you to stand up for yourself, because who would you stand up to first and foremost? Them, when they are abusing you. And they don't want that. So they don't teach you that. They're gonna teach you to be whatever it serves them. And you grow up, there comes a rapist, there comes a narcissist, there comes an abuser. You don't speak up. When finally too much has happened, and over decades, where you feel like it's not going like that, I'm going to die, it's either going to be me or it's going to be their little system. When you finally break free, it's very confusing, because now you have all of these programmings pulling you back, so you suffer. Last year, I suffered. I cut off my family and I suffered because of all of the implants. And I spoke yesterday, I posted a video about how childhood abuse even creates demonic soul bindings. You bet I had some of those too, many of those. It took me a year to clear things, to enough that I wouldn't have to suffer. When you cut off your narcissistic family, or you break away from a narcissistic lover, or whatever it is, it's not you truly suffering. That's not true. That's not organic, this feeling. It is witchcraft. It is Satanism. It is all of these demonic entities that have been bound through the traumas, the ritualistic trauma, because when something happens chronically and over years, and it is ritualistic, you learn cause and effect. You learn first this happens, and then this punishment comes, and then that happens, and it's a ritual. It's a ritual with a teleturgy and a dramaturgy that is scripted and written by those who were your abusers. In my case, that was my family. My mother was the active abuser, and my father was the I don't see. Every time I went to my father for help, telling him that my mother was an abusive, out of control, angry person, my father just told me he doesn't have time for this. Your child literally comes to you and tells you, help me. She's killing me. And you say, that's just how she is. Don't you know her? Just do what she wants you to do. No. Narcissistic systems, it's not do what they want you to do and you're gonna be fine. That's exactly the narcissism. That's the psychopathy. There is no perfection that you can achieve. The goalpost is always moved. You do everything they want you to do, and it's never enough, because it was never about that. It was just about the narcissists having a platform to satisfy their vicious sadism. I am a person who knows what it is like to beg for my life. And I know that because I was a child, when my mother made me have to beg for my life, as she stood there with a knife in her hands. And so many times I had to save my sister, running behind her, grabbing at her, trying to stop her from chasing my sister. You say that stuff to your father, and he somehow doesn't decide that it's time for an intervention. This is a betrayer. This is just an abuser himself too. You might say, well, I didn't have my parents do such egregious things. They were more chill. It was the psychological abuse. It's the same thing. If you had things done to you where you felt like you were inches away from losing your life, be it from physical violence or be it from spiritual violence, where you feel like they weren't doing that stuff. My mother wasn't doing that stuff all the time. But I do remember being a child and not wanting to go back home after school because I just couldn't take it anymore. And it's not normal for a 10-year-old child to be weighing her options after going off of the school bus. Do I go home, or do I find a way to not have to go home, if you catch what I mean? You're out on the street, lots of cars passing by. It's just a split-second decision. Your problems could be over. It's not normal. It's not normal. And I have never been suicidal in my life. Like me on my own, I've never been a suicidal person. And whatever it was always about these people satisfying their anger, what they wanted. I want to say this right now. I'm angry. I want to put it out on someone. I want to hit someone. I want to beat someone. It's always about them. It's always about their needs. And so they train you this way so that when you escape, your whole existence and your whole being was a ritualistic binding in keeping you into being of service to them. So this forest last year held me, held my heart, held my whole existence, because I tell you this, it is an exhausting process. Some people might think, oh yeah, you cut your family off, now you have the worst behind you. Now you can collapse, now you can rest. And it's like, no. Now the real battle begins, because now I have to fight with the demons that they installed inside my psyche, the implants, the mind control, trauma-based mind control. If you have been abused by your family, because that's how they were teaching you rules and discipline, and that's trauma-based mind control that these people are doing. And they turn around, they have the nerve to turn around when you confront them and say, well, we did the best we could. No, you didn't. You didn't, Felicia. You did the best you could while others were present, because you wanted so desperately for others to see what a good parent you are. You just did what was serving you. We have to speak these things aloud. We have to understand these things, that when you escape from narcissistic abuse, whether it is your family, but especially the family, because it's the most primordial, it's like the deepest source of, like, seriously, like your parents, they're supposed to be the ones who are your source of life. And that source of life in your childhood, in your most vulnerable years, they're abusing you. This requires you to fight for your life. When people are leaving narcissistic family systems, they are embarking on a period of having to fight for their life. Most of us make it, because guess what? The depression was never ours. The feeling as if we live in hell, even when we live miles and miles away from them, that was never ours. That was theirs. That cross was never ours to carry. They put it together, nail by nail, by putting it on, there on us and nailing us on that cross. And it looks like growing up in such places, your aspiration was like, did I do good enough to also earn the thorn crown? It's a crucifixion. And I use this word very intentionally, because it is the Christ Spirit, the spark inside of humanity's children, that is crucified when we grow up in narcissistic, abusive households. These parents want access to us when we're grown-ups. And many of us make the mistake to keep them in our lives. I made the mistake to keep my family in my life. And I say my family because I left my family. I wrote them a letter. I called my older sister who also experienced the things that I experienced. right? It was my body that I threw so often between her and a knife. Called my older sister to tell her, listen, I've written a letter and I'm cutting off mom and dad. She started crying and I'm like, why are you crying? So I had to caretake my sister, and I refused to do that, obviously, because I had enough in my hands, on my plate, with starting my own journey of, okay, I cut off the abusers who continue to be abusive. That was, I cut off my family personally. And that's what I'm saying. You have the right to do that anytime. I cut off my family not because of what happened in the past. As I said, I kept them in my life. I cut them off because I saw how they were still playing games. It wasn't with beatings, but it was with all sorts of really petty games. And my mother was at the center of it all. And my father as well. They are both enabling and abusing each other also. And this is a family where everybody is this way. If you look at their siblings, they are the same. You could say that my parents are the best. My parents are the best of all of them. I give them that. But this is not a place that I, in my 33 years of age, last year, now I'm 34. That was not a place that I wanted to continue to be associated with. The more you grow to be a seeker and defender of truth, the more you realize that people who serve lies are enemies of the truth. They are your enemies too, because they turned against me too many times, and maybe not, aggressively always, but it was with ignoring me, humiliating me, like summoning, coming together all together, but I am the one outside. I'm like, you can keep each other. I don't like you anyways. You are people who, if it was not this imposed blood bond, I wouldn't hang with you a second time. So why am I hanging with you after everything that you are doing to me? So it's not, it's sometimes we make that mistake to think that because the physical abuse is not there, we think it's better now. And that was my mistake, to think that it's better now. Come on, they don't abuse you. Well, really, they don't abuse you. Then why is it that after every phone call, I have to navigate 2 weeks of psychic attack, of depression? Because what they say and their stance and attitudes also to what I say, or when I bring a problem that they have created, when I bring that problem to the table, they will find all sorts of nice language. So nice language. See, they don't even have to be verbally intense anymore. Especially my mother, she has the last years assumed this very pious image. Her motto is like, I choose to live in love, and I'm like, right, you have destroyed our lives, but you choose to live in love because you decided to forget about how you destroyed our lives. Fine, go off, ride into the sunset. By all means, I wish you the best, but get the fuck out of my life, because you are a liar to yourself, first and foremost. People lie, people tell stories so that they can sleep at night. And when you grow into your spiritual authority, it's a slap against yourself to continue to keep such people in your life. So the way I see it, you have the right anytime to clean up your life from those who are opposers but are hiding under this guise that is so supported also by society. We're family. No, you are a system, and you all benefit from me not speaking up. And every time I speak up, you put me in the oubliette, as they say. You put me in this space of ignoring me, pretending I never spoke. I literally told my mother that my cousin molested me when I was little. I told her in 2021, and she cried. We were talking for 2 hours about it. And it was one of the things that was the last straw for me. When 2024, 25 or so, I found out they've been supporting this cousin, trying to find him a job because he was taking drugs, he lost his mind, I don't know, whatever, and he couldn't keep a job down. My dad put him in the military, the Navy at some point, and he fucked up there, fucking up wherever he goes. And my parents are like, yeah, we're gonna pull some connections that we have, get him a job at least at a pizzeria. I'm like, what the heck are you all doing? Or giving him, some money here and there because he's in tough times. I'm like, I'm sorry, but if I was in your position, this person wouldn't be alive. And when I confronted my mother about it, I was like, how can you? I told you what he's done to me, and after that you haven't changed? He's still like your favorite nephew? What the heck is that? She's like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry this happened to you. I don't remember that you ever told me about that. Wrong answer. Wrong answer. I'm saying this as an example of how narcissistic people and narcissistic family operate. Like, I'm sorry, either you have dementia or either you forgot it wasn't important to you, or actually you're full of shit, as they say, because you were crying and we were talking 2 hours about it, and I had to caretake her. I told her I got molested as a kid by this lowlife cousin who was just 2 years older than me. And I understand kids don't molest other kids unless this has been done to them. So they saw that from somewhere and they did that. But I got molested, and I didn't go ahead to go and molest someone else. Just saying. And this is where our empathy and our understanding and our compassion is used against us. We are being told, hurt people. Yeah, but what about us? We've been hurt like nobody else. Those who still stay in their empathic heart, you bet we've been hurt even more than those hurt people who hurt people, because there's something crazy that happens in this world where it's like hurt people who go ahead and hurt other people, they are rewarded and they are supported. And us, those of us who try to do the right thing and we stand in our integrity, we're beat down 10 times worse afterwards. We're being punished everywhere. So how come we don't become monsters? So I personally cut out my entire family, because after I wrote that letter, and I should have ghosted all of them and have them think that I'm dead or something, but because they are all very unstable, anyways, I just chose, that's the person that I am. I chose to write them a letter, 24 pages, and saying everything that I had to say. So my older sister, knew that I wrote that letter. And then the whole summer after I sent that letter, she disappeared. I didn't hear from my sister once. She didn't call me once. She was doing her own stuff, whatever. But this is a sister with whom we were actually quite close. So that was weird. So 4 or 5 months later, so I sent my letter in July 7th. And so I hear from my sister, we speak at some point around November. And it's like, sorry, we haven't spoken all this time? Are we gonna address the elephant in the room? So this whole conversation is her basically talking around, and then eventually like bringing forth the why you can't forgive them talk. And I explained, because that's the person I am. But I felt after this phone call that this is not my sister anymore. Whoever that is someone who works for this family and has chosen to stand with them. She was saying all the time, you know what, I don't want to pick sides. That's already picking sides. You just want to have it good with them. And you're throwing me under the bus. It's all right. I don't hate anybody, and I understand. But this kind of mind control, because I think it's mind control. My sister and everybody in this house, they just all dance around the main narcissist. This doesn't fit in my life. So I decided to cut that entire thing. My younger sister, I don't know, we don't have much contact. She's a young person. I think she's too deep into this system, and I think that if she ever breaks free from them, I'm here for her. But I cannot trust her either. It's like they all try in days that are important for me to fuck it up for me. It's like, so my younger sister, I haven't heard really much from her, like one-liner messages here and there, and I'm like, okay, fine, but do you all realize I'm a person that cut off the family? I'm sorry, but if my sister had cut off the family, I would have reached out and been like, listen, how can I support you at this time? How can I support you at this time? Do you need to talk? How is your heart? Are you hurting? I understand it must be really heavy if you decided to cut mom and dad. None of them showed up. They were just writing me bullshit, low effort messages like, we miss you. Who is we? Who is we? You mean the entire system that I just left behind? You mean to weaponize that also against me? Your connection with me is also getting weaponized to tell me how this. Oh, I'm not gonna tell you. I'm not gonna tell you how mom reacted to reading the message, the letter. I don't even know what was in this letter, anyways. Really? If I were you, I would have grabbed that letter and read it and be like, what is my sister writing? What have you done to her that she cut you off? I would have read that letter. For all I know, to this day, maybe nobody, apart from my mother, my dad also, you know, they wrote me an answer, like a written message, even though I told them, I don't want to hear from you ever again, leave me the fuck alone. They broke that boundary also to send me a message and to say nothing. To say, I don't know what to say, I'm so sorry. Sometimes parents hurt their children even if it's not what they intended to do. I'm like, 24 pages? That's all you have to say after everything I told you? My father didn't even say, wait a minute, your cousin assaulted you? Gonna go cut his legs off. Just an example, you know? Just saying. I'm not promoting or endorsing violence, but this is how these people were talking about everybody else. They were hearing about other people's children, or this happened to this. Oh, if I was them, I would that. I'm like, yeah, how about now? How about now? What are you gonna do now? You do nothing. You do nothing because you prefer to protect your relationship with your hideous relatives. I'm gonna leave it at hideous relatives because gonna leave it at that. Everybody gets their karma. So the thing is, my birthday arrived. My birthday in May. And after months and months of not really hearing anything from my sister. My sister's really, I cut off my older sister in November, as I said, after that last phone call that we had, where I understood I never want to talk to this person again, because that's all you gotta say. It's an interrogation and I have to explain myself, and you haven't bothered to read that letter. Read the fucking letter and stop asking me why I can't forgive them. And she also told me, which I find it's such a betrayal, she said, you were always the evolved one. You should be the one to forgive them because they are lower. And I'm like, what kind of a rationalization is this to put the abuser's responsibility for fixing things, to put it on the victim? Shame on you. To anybody who does that. Shame on anybody who puts the cross of having to forgive on top on the person who carries all this damage, just so that the abuser doesn't have to be held accountable. Oh, come back into the fold. Come back into the fold. Let's be a nice family. No, maybe it's about time that you answer for what you've done. Maybe it's about time that you respond to all these questions about where is Elina? Why she's not visiting? Maybe because we hurt her so bad throughout her entire life and into adulthood, and we betrayed her so many times that she just decided at some point that she's had enough of it. Maybe you should answer with truthfulness this time, and not with little stories that you make up in order to get yourself to sleep well at night, because I wonder how you sleep at night. So my birthday comes in May and I get a message from my younger sister. Oh, we miss you so much, and this message only comes from me. It's not from anybody else. I needed to send you, I have the need to send you a birthday message. So if you would like to give me your address. I deleted it. And after that I went ahead and I changed my number and I changed everything. They're never gonna find me again. Because I'm like, because you have the need, I must now, on my birthday, I must be reminded that I have somewhere a family that didn't give a shit all of these months, but they remember me now. So even my birthday is being weaponized against me. And I've seen this so many times with all of the toxic exes. Do you know that? They don't think of you the rest of the year. When it's your birthday, they're gonna remember to fuck up your day. Because like, it's her birthday. Let's send her this cryptical message of like, happy birthday, blah, blah. And I hope you're having a good life. Damn well I have a good life without you. Yes. So this forest, I'm very grateful. I love how the wind moves and breathes, and I breathe with it. God is everywhere, but you have to remove from your life everything that cuts your connection from God. And I don't mean God in a religious manner. You know, this is not a religious channel, right? Because I'm mentioning Christ. I mean the cosmic Christ. I mean the life code that is embedded within the fabric of this reality. And it has been attacked and hijacked by dark forces, and we are doing the cleanup. You and I, we're doing the cleanup. The reason why I'm sharing these stories are not here to come and expose anybody. I have blocked everybody from everywhere. Even from here, maybe they're watching some stuff. I don't care at this point. I don't want any contact with any of them unless they are ready and truthful to take accountability for everything they have done and how they have handled not just them abusing me, but how they have allowed others to abuse me too, and how they taught me by abusing me in my formative years and all the way into my adulthood, and continuing to up until the last days that I cut them off. Like I cut my family off in August 2023. I called my mother. I was screaming. I was hysterical. I told her because some things had happened back then. They are too personal. I don't want to tell them. They would be exposing them, not me. And I called them and I said, I called my mom and I said, that's it, I'm done with you. Leave me alone. I never want to talk with you again. And I closed the phone. And I also told my older sister. And my older sister told me, that's right, you did good. I also am angry with her. She's never gonna see her grandchild again. That was Friday. By Sunday, my older sister was at the cottage of my parents and they were all swimming together. And she called me. I didn't ask her accountability for that. You can do whatever you like, but just saying. And she called me and was like, you understand, I have a child who wants to see his grandparents. I'm like, you do you, and I'll do me. But my mother, she pretended as if we never had this conversation. Same as she pretended we never had the conversation about me being molested. This woman has a memory issue, maybe. I don't know. And I don't care. That's her life. That's how she chooses to do her life. She is this wonderful fairy for everybody else. Just not for her children. And that's a communal narcissist for you. They have this perfect image. Few people can see through them and can expose them. And these people, they are very bad. Yeah. My oldest sister was someone who could see through. And she got so abused, even more than me sometimes, because I assumed the role of the golden child. So for many years I was the perfect one, and my sister was like, getting the whole thing on her. I'm not saying that one of us had it better, because being the golden child comes with a whole set of other demonic possessions, because you cannot be yourself, so you make all sorts of agreements on the spiritual level to help you to be a version that the narcissist can vibe with, Once I started deprogramming, it became clear to me I was never similar to my mother. We were never, because she was always like, you and I, we're the same. No, I'm not the same with you. I'm not. I had reached the point that I saw myself in the mirror, and anything that reminded me of my mother or my father, I felt like I wanted to vomit. I felt like I don't want to see my abusers in the mirror every time I look myself in the mirror. And these people, they live their lives because they have decided that they did the best they could. Who carries the pain? The victims. So I had cut off my family in 2023 already, but it never got shared. So my mother kept calling me and talking with me as if I never told them that I'm cutting them off, and also being all worried about why we call you and you never pick up. So then I became a little bit what's wrong with this child? I remember my father calling me at some point and be like, hey, listen, have you forgotten about us? We feel like we've been forgotten by you. We never hear anything from you. And I'm like, oh, look at that. Somebody didn't give him the memo. So fast forward to last year when I sent my letter. My mother intercepted the letter. And I knew this would happen. And my spirit team, when I was writing the letter, they told me, your letter will get lost. So tell someone else that you have sent it. And that was the only reason why I called my older sister, to tell her about it. Because I wanted to have one more witness. I trusted her. So my letter got intercepted. And my mother admitted to it when she messaged me about, oh my gosh, this letter, and I've been trying to fit everything in my mind, and I'm so sorry. Yeah, too late. Too late. You sorry? You're doing what? You say sorry every time. What do I do with the sorry, honey? I'm sorry. Great. You're sorry. Sorry, we can't go back to any relationship you and I ever had, because it was all extractive. You were extracting from me so that you can feel good about yourself. So I told her, I said, listen, it's shameful that you have intercepted my letter, because she's like, I can't give this letter to your dad. 5 years ago, he had a heart surgery. He's gonna collapse, and he's having blood tests coming up, and we want him to be calm. Typical. All of my life, she would always come up with such stories about why the truth can't come out. When I was a child, she even told me that if I would say about the abuses and everything, and that I was being beaten, and everything that she was doing, that if I would tell, my dad would be angry at me. Okay, but I was a child and I believed it, And so imagine how much strength it actually took from me as a child to find it in me and go to my father at some point and to say, with tears in my eyes, I found the opportunity to talk to him one day as he was driving me to school. And I knew, finally, we have time under 4 eyes, as they say. Imagine what it took for me to go all the way out and to say, she's torturing us every single day. Help. And to have my father, who was my warrior knight, I had him always in my mind like a savior. Because when I didn't want to eat my food, and my mother was all ballistic about it, my dad was coming around and he was like, come on, you can eat later. So he was liberating me. So in my mind, he was always the savior. Imagine the disappointment when this savior turned out to be just another footman for my abuser. And he sent me a message after I confronted my mother, and I said, you give that letter. You give that letter. Why should we involve him? Because anyways, I did everything and he's innocent. No, bitch. Give that fucking letter. Both of you have been equally guilty. And he needs to know what he's done to me too. And read everything that you have done too. So is it him that you're trying to protect, or your image, like always? So she gave that letter. I have to hope that she gave the letter unadulterated, because the way I know her, she might have changed the letter or erased or tore things out. I don't know. She is not someone I trust. The last 5 years, I came to understand that my mother is not someone that I would ever trust. Until then, she had me fooled. And I would call her so many times, and we would talk for hours and hours and hours. But it was me talking. I was saying so much about my life, and she was giving me nothing, because she was even leading a double life. But anyways, let's leave it at that. She had way too many secrets. So what could she say? She was just saying things that were, oh yeah, my job is going well, and this and that, and how everybody loves me at the office, at the job or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, great. I had to hear about what a wonderful relationship she has with her young students while she is completely ignoring me. So she gave the letter to my father, and my father responded with a very, I was like, you must have really, really pushed yourself to write that. We're so sorry. Parents are like that. They try the best for their children, but they don't always make it. And I'm like, goodbye. No. Goodbye. Goodbye. The way that many narcissistic structures in families and they work, they must have given you something also at some point, and they remind you all the time about why you owe them your whole existence. For me, it's like everything. We took you to music lessons. We did you this. We supported you financially when you moved from the country. We did this, we did that. And I'm like, yeah, thank you. But all of that doesn't give you permission to abuse me. If you think that this is how you buy me, like what is that? Is it a slave bazaar where you go, you choose someone and you're like, here you go, I pay money for this person so that now I can torment them and punish them and abuse them? That's not how it works if nobody told you. So I feel that the maze that we have to navigate as victims of narcissistic abuse, especially from childhood, because fine, we can talk about the narcissistic boyfriends and everything. I've done this a million times. Why? Because my foundation was based on narcissism and abuse. So of course I would find the one narcissist after the other. They were your parents before, now it's the person in your bed. It's just a continuance. And it took another death of the Elina back then to exit those kinds of relationships. And I found my man, who is a wonderful angel, thank God, and we're nearly 10 years together, and it's just the best thing I ever did in my life. And I'm sure that in 10 years time I will be saying the same thing also about leaving my family behind. I will be saying that was the second best thing that I did. But the maze we have to navigate is so treacherous. These people believe their own lies. They believe what they say. They play a different role with everybody also, I have noticed, And it's like sometimes even things slip up. Like things slip up and their true quality comes out. Like I remember my dad, was like, my mom was propping him up all the time, he's this great dad to his daughters, Yeah, the fact that he was, he almost left us on the street with nothing because he found at some point a girl and he ran away with her, and he was telling us that we are nothing. He called me his enemy because I caught him. And from me it reached to my mom. Or that his overall view of women is not one that me as a mother, if I was a mother, I wouldn't want this man next to my girls. But you can say what you want about him, he's been a terrible husband, but he's been a great father. Really? That's a person who says, I remember my dad one time said to the husband of my sister, he said to him, women, a thing that you put it down and you fuck it, what respect should you have for it? It was in front of everybody. It was a family dinner. Many people heard that. And of course back home you would always have like these fights. What was that you opened your mouth and you said? And I'm like, y'all fooling yourselves. This is who he is. He always opens his mouth and he says something that slips up. No, that's not a slip up. That's what he wanted to say all along. And it's crazy to me that narcissistic families, they will be protecting such kind of people. It's a lot to navigate. Last year, I felt such exhaustion alone by the success, the achievement of getting these people out of my life and announcing it to them. And I tell you, in hindsight, I think I have been too gracious with them. In hindsight, I should have disappeared and never let them know where I am. And I don't care if they hold a funeral for me, I don't care. But I didn't want them to go through such a heartbreak or such a worry or such a anxiety. And instead, I allowed them to attempt to gaslight me again. It didn't work, but it was painful to witness that. And I am doing much better, definitely, but I can't say that I'm the same person. I have died, you guys. Last year I died. Again. This has happened so many times. But last year I think what died was a lot of the demons that I was feeding, I was feeding them with my own energy, and they were feeding these people. A lot of these programmings, a lot of these implants. It was also the first time in my life that I did implants removal sessions. And that was the first time in my life that I came to the tools that allowed me to do this kind of work, and also to learn to do this kind of work also for my clients. So it was generally last year a incredible wealth of experience, and really it's an understatement for me what happened. Like when they say the year 33 is the year of spiritual adulthood. Yep. Yeah, I got hit with the whole train because it was necessary. That wasn't the only thing that happened. And see, when you are coming out of these systems, what falls apart is victim-victimizer gestalts, victim-victimizer matrix formations that you don't feed with your energy anymore. And the matrix, so to speak, the energetic, I'm talking energetically and spiritually now, it's going to fight back. It fought back viciously. I've had to deal with so much psychic attack, demonic attack, and on top of that, crazy things happening. Like one day my neighbor decided that he wanted to kill me and my partner, and he attacked us physically. And thank God my man is a trained mixed martial arts practitioner, high level, and he was able to just mitigate the attack. It was hysterical. It felt like I was in a movie. It was hysterical, as if I wasn't traumatized enough. Then this thing came on top, and this guy was allowed to live also next door to us still for months and months, until he got thrown out last month. He moved out, and the police is now looking into it. But this is typical. Have you seen now what's happened with Hayden Panettiere? This girl that I didn't know about until the other day. But it's typical. It's an archetypal battle. It's not about me or another person. That's why I'm saying it here, because I'm sure that all of you that this resonates with, you have experienced this. It's an archetypal battle. When you tell the bullies no, they will try to force a yes until they realize they can't. You're too powerful. You hold on too strongly. And so I come out of this year, and I'm saying a year because it's August now, and things are very different from last August. Last August I was walking these woods, and I felt inside of me that it's a miracle that I'm still standing alive, because I felt like the exhaustion was so intense from everything that I've had to use so much of my spiritual power and energy in order to break free from the binds of a narcissistic system. And I felt like, how does life move on from here? Not that I don't see potential and that I don't see, but I feel like all of my essence got consumed in this battle, and I feel like that was the work of my life. I felt like that was the work of my life. I have come here to do exactly this. And now that it's done, I feel like I have completed my mission and I can go home. That was what I was feeling. It felt like an incredible ego death, and I was ready to go. Not that I would ever do that, but I found myself sitting in this void, and it took a while for the new Elina to start emerging. And by February or March, she started emerging. And I wrote a song called Omens. It says, I guess I've cried enough. And this song, Omens, is about exactly like walking in nature. And you guys, I kid you not, but I was seeing in nature signs and omens that my time is coming, my time of blooming again is coming. And that, no, you didn't die. But it felt like it's happened before in my life like that. Like it happened in 2019 and 2020 when I was sick. And I almost lost my life because of medical neglect. And I remember that I had this out-of-body experience and conversation basically with my own spirit of like, what are we doing? Are we staying here or are we popping out? Do we need a reset? Is this an exit point? Can I take it? Do I want to take it? Spiritually, we are given exit points to choose. And I chose to stay back then. And why I chose to stay was because of my man. Because when I had lost all will to live, but as I say, that's a strange thing because you never want to actively off yourself. As I'm saying, I'm not suicidal. I've never been suicidal, but it's this feeling of any time now, the lights could just close and I would slip off into a different plane of existence. But I looked at my man, and he was the reason I said I want to have a life with him. And so my man kept me here. And then of course afterwards, you stay and your power returns, and you feel like, oh, good thing that I didn't slip off, because look, it's so nice. And I've lived the best things since 2020, and life has blessed me so much, but it was a completely different paradigm from the one before. I couldn't have imagined it ever. And so I'm starting to see now something similar, this rebirth coming online. That's why I wanted to do this video, not because I wanted to put the gossip or the la la la. I just want to say life returns. But you have to go through the battle one time. You have to go through the battle and not give up. And you have to be fierce with defending your personal space spiritually, because there's going to be lots of different energies that are trying to get you to get back. Cut cords, clear psychic attack, do everything it takes. Use shielding. Find your own authority, because they will try, like energetically, things will try to pull you back, because they don't want to lose the supply, the energetic supply that you were offering. Why do I speak so British lately here and there? Sorry you guys, my accent changes a lot of time depending on what kind of people I have around me. And I have lots of different people around me, either through my work in the studio with the music or with my clients. I live in a country where it's not my mother language, what everybody speaks around. German is not my mother language. And so you're going to be okay. More than okay. I was walking around in these woods and I could see the little signs, the trees, they were dead. And then like in January and so, and then you could have these little peaks of blossoms and this and that by March and April. And I was like, look at that. Even nature around is showing you that you're coming back. If you've cut your narcissistic family off, You didn't just cut off people. That's what I'm trying to make you understand. That's why I'm saying all of these stories, not to paint the people as bad, like my mom was bad. No. It's to showcase, look at the patterns, look at how they operate, because it's not them. It's something else that is operating them. And that's the only reason why I haven't crashed out in their face, because I understand that, like, I also did it in the past, and they look at you and it's like, I don't understand. What do you have against me? And I'm like, oh. So yeah, you're gonna be back. You're gonna be back. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. You're gonna be alright. And ultimately, you can start again. This time on your terms. So I love you all very much, and I hope this wasn't too heavy. It felt heavy, but by now it feels elation, hope, opening, elevation, blessing, power, authority, sovereignty, joy, creation, potential, well-being, prosperity, harmony, balance, education, knowingness, awareness, realization, strong footing, power, compassion, happiness, love, sweetness, bravery, courage, truth, justice, liberation, divine timing. I guess I am done here. I love you all. Goodbye.